Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you are doing well. Today is Friday, July 25th, and we ended today a pretty strong day in the markets, or pretty strong week, rather, in the markets overall. So, looking at the indices, we were up 0.37% on the Russell today. The Dow Jones was up close to half a percentage point. The S&P was up 0.4%. The Nasdaq was up 0.23%. And uh, in terms of uh, major names for stocks that we like to look at, Tesla was up 3.5%. Pretty strong recovery yesterday, uh, after yesterday's drop. They did mention that they were expanding their Robotaxi experiment to California, which is fantastic, specifically the Bay Area. And as I said yesterday, as I said in the Discord private group, I expect a aggressive exponential rollout for Robotaxi. Elon Musk was saying it may be available to up to half the population of the United States by the end of the year. If that is the case, even if we have to wait on Robotaxi impact to appear in financials until maybe late next year, even if that's the case, the fact that it is rolling out at this very aggressive pace, I think will be enough to change sentiment about this stock for investors because ultimately investing is a forward looking exercise. It's not about what is happening right now or what happened in the past. It's about what we think is going to happen in the future. And doesn't really need much foresight to see if robotaxi is being rolled out in all these different geographies, what that's going to mean for the bottom line of this company eventually. Some of the Bitcoin related stocks took a bit of a breather. MicroStrategy down 2%, BitTier down 3%, CleanSpark down 4%. Today, we're going to talk about Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This is a company that has been on a tear as of late. Alhamdulillah, it's a company that we hold in our dividend portfolio and we've done well on. Bitcoin is at 117,000, Solana at 185. Doge is back at 23 cents, 23 and a half. And Pudgy Penguins is at 0.038. All right, so let's talk about Taiwan Semiconductors. That's my beautiful self. When is enough? That is to say, when is it time to take profits? Is it time to take profits right now on Taiwan Semiconductor? Surely the type of growth that we've experienced so far isn't sustainable. Well, first, let's talk about what Taiwan Semiconductor actually does. So this is a company that's based in Taiwan. That's a big point about Taiwan Semiconductor. And I think if it wasn't based in this geography, then it would probably be valued a lot more than it is right now. And they have been trying to basically diversify their geographical footprint for obvious reasons. The tension between China and Taiwan is no secret to anyone. China wants to make Taiwan part of China, and it's stated policy that Taiwan is part of China. So, an invasion is always on the table and something that investors need to be thinking about. So, this is a company that makes computer chips that are needed for AI applications. And this is a company that no other company on earth has the same technology, can make the same computer chips that Taiwan Semiconductors can. And the companies like Apple, Nvidia, they design their own chips. They don't actually make them. To make them, they need factories with technology that they don't actually have. And in fact, the only company that has these factories with the necessary technology is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing. And so it's paid by these companies that design chips to actually manufacture these chips in their super advanced factories, often called fabs. And they get paid a lot of money to do so, as you can imagine, since no one else can do what they are doing. Speaking of their monster run, just to put it in perspective, since the April lows that happened after the tariff scare that Trump caused, and very understandably for TSMC, this company was especially impacted by this anxiety. It has rebounded to the tune of 73% since that April low, so only a few months ago. And in their latest earnings report, that is, they beat everything. So they beat top line, bottom line, they beat expectations by a pretty healthy margin. And it does seem like AI demand is just not slowing down in any meaningful way. So if so, looking here in terms of their growth year over year for net revenue, basically popped to 40% in Q2 2024, and it's been hovering around that in terms of growth ever since. This 37.8%, this is what is expected in the next quarter. It's not too far below what it reported most recently, uh, but it's slightly lower, and who knows what the actual revenue growth ends up being. It may, if this company keeps with tradition, it may beat estimates yet again. Margins remain extremely strong. This speaks to the pricing power that the company has. So we're talking about gross margins that are north of 50%, which is very not atypical for manufacturing companies. They typically don't have this generous of a gross margin. And even if you look at their EBIT margin, it's very near their gross margin. So gross margin at 56, EBIT margin at 46. This is what is expected in the next quarter. If you look at what they reported, gross margin at 58, EBIT margin, that is earnings before interest and tax, so after the operating expenses, earnings before interest and tax, that's at 50%. So this is essentially a money printer. So think of TSMC as a money printer that is based in Taiwan, a legal money printer that is based in Taiwan. And so the question that we started this live with is it time to take profits or not? And to do that, I like to, تواصل بالحق, look at what I think the expected cash flows for this company is going to be. If you're looking at 2025, or I should say the next 12 months, I'm expecting at least 31 billion in terms of free cash flow, mind you. 2026, 40, 2027, 60. And then I assume an average for the rest of the 10 years, so 7 more years. I assume a growth rate of 20% every year. Now, keep in mind, the average growth rate for the free cash flows in the last 3 years was closer to 70%. So 20% is clearly a step down from that. That being said, I think it's reasonable to suspect that this growth will not continue at the same pace. Now, that said, I do expect that this sort of AI cycle, if you will last a lot longer than many analysts are giving it credit for. And then after that, to calculate the terminal value of the company, I'm using a perpetual growth rate of 3%, which actually I think may be low. I think, traditionally we've used, 2 to 3% for perpetual growth rates. But if the AI revolution actually turns out to be what I think it potentially can be, and we have things like humanoid robots really increasing GDP substantially, this perpetual growth rate, which is meant to match the GDP growth rate, this perpetual growth rate may actually be closer to 5 or 6%. The discount rate is 11%, shares outstanding, what it is, net debt. So you calculate that, present value of all of these future cash flows, present value of the terminal value. You don't necessarily need to understand this. If you'd like to, then become an elite member. Inshallah, the course will come out next week, biiznillah. Sum of discounted cash flows years 1 to 10, and then the discounted terminal value. Add them up, you get the enterprise value. The equity value takes into account the net debt. So in this case, we're subtracting a negative number. So it adds to the equity value. Divide by the number of shares, you get to intrinsic value per share of 301. Current price is 245. So in summary, no, it's not time to sell. uh, I think that it is very reasonably valued. And our watch list reflects this take profits price. And if you'd like to see our watch list with all the assets that we follow, our valuations for them, buy below, sell above. If you'd like to follow our portfolios, make sure to become a member. Like I said, if you'd like to get access to the course, then make sure you become an elite member before the course comes out, because maybe the price rises afterwards. And a few days to do that. And with that being said, let's take questions. So Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum, Rakaan. Is quantum computing going to somehow replace BTC and crypto? Well, um, I don't think it's going to replace BTC and crypto. Perhaps what will need to happen is that. Sorry, I need to blow my nose. Sorry, what I think will happen is that there will be some upgrade to the cryptography that is used in order to protect the blockchains that current cryptos are built on. So that will happen. This is my prediction, but certainly some upgrades will need to happen if this quantum computing thing actually comes to fruition. Now, that being said, if you look at quantum computing companies, they're pretty thin on revenue and income and pretty fat on promises. So, uh, I remain, um, in a wait and see mode. I'm still not a believer yet. I'd like to see actual practical applications and revenue generation from that. It doesn't seem like the safety staff in Robotaxi is going away anytime soon, which is a good thing. We want people to be safe. Salamat Lubnan, I see you. Is AMD a good stock for long term? Perhaps I'll take a look at it, but right now I like our picks, especially in our dividend portfolio. Muhammad Hafni says, Assalamu alaikum, is there going to be any coupon codes for the membership? To be honest, not anytime soon. Yeah, I have no plans for that anytime soon. But with that being said, congrats, it's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend, inshallah. Leave a like if you enjoyed this live. Become a PIF member if you haven't already. Until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Thank you, Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be upon you all.